Alright, so what you're gonna want to do is come up here and just, throw all your good stuff in here if you want, whatever, and flick that switch. Take the snowballs that you get and just hit each pigman. Hop in the cart, grab your looting 3 sword, and just shift back and forth watching the pigman. From here, all you're gonna want to do is, go take a nap, go to sleep for the night, have dinner with the family, read War and Peace, whatever. And then come back much later to all the XP Zors and tons of gold after all these idiots died. Oh yeah, look at the XP Zors. Oh yeah. What is up, guys? Half Slab Bacon back with another one of our Minecraft survival tutorials. So guys, are we up in the gold farm? That's right. It's time to get this gold farm a-rockin'. So I got the Minecart Elevator all the way up here. I've marked off the center of my platforms and I've set up my Nether portal because I don't even want to tell you how much time I like to spend dicking around with stuff like that just to get the look I want. So we got a lot of work to do here. Let's get started. I think you're going to be pretty excited with just how simple this gold farm is. First off, let me give credit to ImpusleSV for his old X79 gold farm design. It's kind of an inspiration to this. Also, for those of you that might happen to be new, if you're curious how we got on the roof of the Nether, check out my playlist on the Minecraft Survival Tutorial Series, episode 67. For how to get onto the roof of the Nether. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. And for those of you that might not be new or might not be sure how to build a minecart elevator, that would be episode 85 of the survival series. And I will leave a link to that in the description as well. So let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? I got a lot to get done, so we better get started. So, first off, let's kind of go over where we're at so far outside of bringing that up. And don't worry about the portal. I will explain it briefly later on when we link it up to the rest of the system because it is Redstone-y. I might do a separate tutorial for it or a similar one. Really, the overall layout of this one is custom designed for this farm. So I might do a simpler layout tutorial or this one exactly, because really it's pretty good if I do say so myself. Anyways, the platforms. So how I go about this, guys, and how I recommend you guys go about this is the first step I did was determine, how big I wanted my farm. And then after punching through the roof of the Nether, I came all the way up here, and I literally just blocked up till I hit this point. See? Height limit, 256 blocks. That's it. That's as high as we can go, which is good, because that's as high as I want to go. So once I got up here, then you can see how this is actually a lower half slab, as high as I can go. I built this platform first. Oh my god. Who's the noob that left their phone on? What the heck is wrong with you? Sorry, guys. It's silent now. We'll just tell it to shut up until we're done the tutorial. So, I highly recommend do this first, guys, because the last thing you want to deal with when you're working up on the roof of the Nether is gas spawns. So by sealing this off and then working from the top down, you can prevent that from happening. So I've gone ahead and done that, and you might have noticed I'm also wearing my elytra. That's because I don't like death. So once this was done, that one's gone forever. I did this platform down here. And this is 13.5 blocks below. Now I'm gonna do 12 spawn platforms, and including the floor, they're 3 blocks each. And then we need space underneath for the crusher, for me to come back and forth in a minecart. And then this floor, that's 13.5 blocks down. It's not necessary to do the whole thing like this. I put the extra effort in just because I find it easier to get it all done right away, and that leaves me lots of room to run around while I'm doing the rest of this build, and it leaves me a basement for all my redstones, so should I decide to change something later on, say because the game mechanics changed, I've got all the room to do it. Also, while I'm building the rest of the farm, it just kind of minimizes the likelihood of, you know, me falling to my death. Chicken! Okay, I guess we'll have a bite to eat. And what we're gonna want here is we're actually gonna want a pigman. Right there. Now, we're not gonna have an issue. Ooh, I mucked up there. We're gonna want him because we're gonna be like sitting in a minecart right here. So we're gonna want our pigman right up here. Now, decorate this however you see fit. I'm just gonna go like so to kind of trap them in. And this is kind of the first stage before I start building any other spawnable area is I want to get that pigman spawning, and you can see I've got a name tag for him in here. I'm gonna call him Grumpy because I think that's cool. So I want to get Grumpy kind of trapped in his spawn area right off the top, because Grumpy is going to be the guy that makes our farm go tick. Alright guys, so I got the track run. I haven't bothered powering any of it yet. I just wanted to get it laid out and finish bringing my ends down. And I'm going to start the rest in a sec, but I completely forgot, noob me, these guys spawn in packs of like 4. So in order to get a guy to spawn in the center, I'm gonna have to give some other spawn spaces for some other guys to spawn. And then hopefully I can get one in the center. Give you an idea what I'm doing off camera here. So my spawn platforms are gonna be 33 by 13. Now, really, you could go 32 by 12. I'm basically picking 33 by 13 just so that I can have an odd number for the design I want to put in, because, you know, I roll like that. So that's not including my edges here. So I've got 34 blocks here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go out till I only have one left. So get my 33 from the edge. Like I said, not including those towers, because we're going to want to glass pane or half slab or whatever those off. I'm going to use a combination of both for looks, but you could just use half slabs as long as they're not spawnable, right? And then I'm going to want to go this one out. So that's my 33. That's where my spawn platform's going to end. So I'm going to want my kill chamber basically to start here. However, I'm also going to need a block for half slabs, glass, etc. in between the minecart and the platforms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of mark this here. And my next set of towers are actually going to go right here. Haha! I'm a Jeebus! We did it! We did it! We got a guy! We got a guy. See? That wasn't so hard, was it? So let's try pillaring up here. This is why I've kept the name tag on me, of course. And we shall now have Grumpy. I can't blame him, really. I would be grumpy too, because I'm going to be punching him in the face with snowballs all the time. So from here I can take this down, and I can kill off our other pigmen before we get any other spawns. Alright guys, so 3 of my platform towers are in out of the 4. So 9 out of a whopping 12 spawn platforms. Yeah, baby. So I wanted to show you guys with the last one how I'm going about doing this, because it is rather important. So I'm coming over to here. Remember, we marked off exactly where we wanted the platforms to end earlier. So I'm coming over here and I'm setting that half slab down as a base, and then I'm taking this pillar all the way up. And this is important, guys. I cannot stress this enough. If you've never built a gas farm or a pigman farm or anything up on the roof of the Nether, this is a pro tip here for you, is always work from the top down. That's why the first thing I did was this, because what's going to happen, doesn't matter that we've got half slab there, these are spawnable floors. If I were to work from the bottom up, I'd get gas spawns, because there'd be more than a 3 block gap. There'd be a 4, 5, 6 block so on gap big enough for gas to spawn as I built out, and then I'd be stuck fighting gas. But what I've been doing is going right to my edge and building my outer edge first. That way it's done, and when... Whoops. That one's probably gonna be gone forever now. Yep. Oh well. It's a thing. 1 flower wasted. That way, when the pigmen start spawning, I don't have to worry about them pushing me off an edge while I'm building, because, you know, I'm throwing my glass in on the end, and I'm doing this end first, so it's done out of the way. Now, I'm leaving these, you notice these go right to the edge, and they are open. And that's intentional so that the magma cubes can just kind of wander off, because we are going to get magma cube spawns up here. Not a lot, because, I mean, honestly, the pigmen will hit mob cap. Like, it doesn't look like we have a lot of pigmen right now, but in all honesty, if we were to count up whatever's over there and here, we're probably pretty darn close to mob cap. Alright guys, the last floor is almost done. So yeah, this is basically it guys. This is how I've been filling it in. I don't know why I just switched to my chicken. And then coming back and grabbing those and grabbing these and just doing this. Now this section here, if you wanted, you could like skip doing the half slabs and just run all solid glass blocks instead of glass panes. You don't want to go glass panes if you're not going to put the slabs in, because you could have the little baby guys glitch through the blocks and kill your face while you're AFK. Alright guys, so I got the killing mechanism set up and part of the powered rail for the one side just to save time. We're doing the exact same thing on both sides, guys. So I figured I'd just, you know, kind of save the time and get her done off camera and then show you the rest. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to punch out those blocks there. This one, this one. Now, we're going to put our storage on this side, so you're going to want to run your hoppers on whichever side you're planning on putting your storage. And all we're doing right now is we're basically clearing the way for just that. So this marks the back of our kill mechanism, so we're going to want hoppers in and around that, like behind, in front, Even as we're doing it right now, to be honest with you, we're gonna get... Is that right? That's right. We're gonna get some loss just because of the translocation, but since that is fixed in the most recent, albeit unstable snapshot, well, kind of fixed, I'm not too worried about it. So we just want basically one covering the back end of the hopper, one covering right where the pigmen are getting killed, and then one by that. Now I moved my ladder, I took it down and closed off the ceiling because we're done pillaring up, so we shouldn't have to worry about that anymore, right? So we're just kind of orientating like this, and we're going to want these at the same level as our rail. Did I get that right? Looks right. Which is why I punched all that out. So we're going to go like that. Same scenario. Same level as our rail. Now this, using up a fair bit of hoppers, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. Basically a stack aside, I think, is what it works out to. But, you know, we don't want to lose any of our precious stuff, and this is a late game farm anyways, right? So do it right. I mean, you could just put this one center row right underneath the kill, but stuff's, you know, gonna squeeze out, and you'll end up losing items if you cheap out that way. So I kinda, sorta, highly recommend not cheaping out. You know what I mean? So basically, very, very simple design. You can see we're gonna create a drop chamber for them, and then we're going to have them drop into this area and squish their faces. Now don't worry, because we are in 1.11, I made this easy as easy could be with the new observer block. You've got no fancy timers to do, no nothing. We're basically running a T flip-flop from this, so that what's going to happen is when you go over a detector rail, it's going to open up the kill chamber so these guys can come down, and then as you're leaving and you go back over the kill chamber after they've all chased you and dropped in, it's going to close and kill them. So yeah, nice and simple, not laggy at all. You know, really can't get much better than this, peeps. So what we're going to want here is, and you could run a single torch tower here if you want. However, I'm going to go ahead and go with a double torch tower just for looks. So we're going to want to close this in before we run our power. Like so. I'll clear the hoppers out at another time, so I'm not worried if we lose some items. Now we want this spot here to be open, and we're going to break this as well and that as well, because this is where we're going to get our XP from. So what we actually want to do is grab our half slabs and just go like so. Like a dat. And that's going to be the area when we go by that gives us our XP zors. So that's very important that that has a half slabbed in area. Otherwise, you won't get your XP when you go by. And we want the XP, right? Hi, little guy. Sorry, little guy, you're about to die. So we'll just go like that, and actually, you know, I won't even really ever see it, but in case I want to walk over or troubleshoot or any of that, I'm just going to put a glass pane on either side so I can see what's going on in the farm. And then on this side, I'm actually going to close that off nice and solid. The more solid blocks we can get around this, the better, the less likely we're going to have items glitching through. So that's basically it. We're going to tear all this out for decoration, pretty much. And it's going to be easier for me if I can see it from downstairs while we're working. I'm gonna cut because we've got a lot to cover on the decoration side, just so this isn't, you know, 3-hour long video. But basically, I'm gonna fill some of this in with lighting so I get a nice glow effect, and then wrap some stairs around it to give it a nice odd shape. So now that we've got that open, we can see where our torch tower is. We're going to want blocks directly below those blocks. And you can do one single torch and redstone dust up top if you want. I am putting single torches, like so I can actually half slab above where the redstone dust would be otherwise. Now that I moved my ladder, I'm all lost. So you can see what's going to happen there is bang, 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 bang. See, we just killed that poor little guy. Now, here's the genius part. Thanks to this observer block, how easy this is going to be. Oh, I love it. I played around for a while, guys, to make this as simple as possible so even a total noob could handle this. So all we're going to do from there is we're going to put these like so. We're going to put this here, okay? Now we're going to put repeaters into our torch tower, and these we're going to want on 4 ticks. That's going to give us a bit of a delay after we hit the rail, and what that's going to help with is when we leave, it's going to give us long enough of a delay for, you know, most or all of the pigmen to get into the kill chamber before it actually closes. And then all we're going to do from here is we're going to run some redstone connecting to the two, and then we're going to grab our redstone blocks, our sticky pistons, and our observers, and I'm going to show you the easiest flip-flop for this. So we're going to want to start with our redstone block there, and you can see why, because it's closed, right? So we want this to be default, so when we go over the detector rail, it opens up, and then when we come back, it closes. So in order to accomplish that, all we're going to do is we're going to put a sticky piston right here, and we're going to 0 tick pulse this bad boy, or 1 tick pulse this bad boy, and that's going to enable us to toggle it, because it's just going to pop out, pull this back, and the next time we go over, it's going to leave it there because the pulse is so quick. So we want to open that up, and we want to place a sticky piston, so 2 from standing behind this. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong. Right there. So we're going to want to leave a 1 gap block from where we're standing. That'll make sense. When we get up top, we can move those. We're basically just moving those so we can work up here, because some of this has to be done from up above. Now when we're up here, we're actually just going to want to place an observer block there. So what's going to happen is when we go over the detector rail here, it's going to pulse this, and when the observer block moves, it's going to quickly pulse over that piston and give it a quick 1 tick pulse, which is going to shift that block back and forth. That's it, guys. That's as complicated as the redstone gets for this freaking thing. I love it. I'm actually really glad I was able to make it that simple. I mean, in past you would have had timers and monostables and T flip-flops, and now it's like, well, place an observer block here and do the thing, okay? Yeah, so we want regular rail there, and over this piston, the second piston, that's where we want our detector rail. Now, what I'll probably do is I will, what do you call it? I'll go into thing mode at the end and fly through so you can see it. Thing mode, yeah, that's what it's called. Thing mode. Observer mode or whatever the heck it's called. Yeah, that thing. So from here, basically, we got to set this tower up so that the guys drop to their deaths. So for that, we're actually going to use some redstone blocks and some glass, and I don't think I'm going to have enough glass to get both sides. Bummer. I'll do one side, and then I'll cut. Stupid Pigman. Move! He's not gonna move. We're gonna have to kill his face. Okay, I'll just do the other side. And then I'll do the rest off camera to cut for the next part. So we're gonna wanna come up here, and all this area is gonna have to be sealed in. But right now, our primary responsibility is to stop falling. Is to get this area closed off so that these idiots can fall down to their deaths and be trapped. So what we're going to do is, this is the area we're going to put our glass, and right in here, because right now this is closed, right? So we want them to fall down there. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put redstone blocks, like so, and iron trapdoors. Now you could use you could skip the redstone blocks if you want and just use wood trapdoors and flip them open. I'm going to use the redstone and the iron trapdoors, one, because I can afford the iron and the redstone, and two, because it looks better with my design scheme. So all I'm going to do is go all the way up like this and do the same thing on both sides. And the redstone's just to hold that open. Now I'm just going to grab myself a block, go like so, and take the glass right to the ceiling. So now the only place they have to go is down into our kill chamber. Huh! Do I have enough stairs? I do. Okay. So I'll show you basically how I'm decorating this, in case you're wondering, and then I'll kill. So basically all I'm doing here is this and this, and I think I went like that on either side. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So I'm closing that off like so, and then this side I'm just kind of blocking in like so, putting a half slab on. Same thing here, that one up, half slab, and then this whole top is getting half slabbed in. And then I'm just extending another layer of stairs around this, just to make it look pretty. I'm doing the same thing with the stairs on this side as well. I'm going like so, solid block there, like so, and like so. And I think, if memory served me, I ended there, yeah, and then I folded it in on this side with this row. So I'm just taking another one, and it's just to give it some dimension. And then I'm getting my lighting effect by just going down here and going like this all the way around here and underneath our pistons, so that it lights up all those stairs. Through the magic of camera, it's all done. No, actually, guys, I ran into some issues. I set up our starter for the track and the item filter area, and I ran into some issues, and I wanted to make sure I had them fixed before I recorded anymore, because this is a long episode and I don't want to waste your time. So you'll see this has changed over here. It's been elevated, and the reason for that is apparently, and I wasn't aware, there was a little change to the Pigman mechanic in 1.9 and forward. So now the part of the pack needs a direct line of sight to the player to stay aggro. Otherwise, the newly spawned guys won't aggro if the pack guys don't see you. And then, you know, the farm stops working. So as soon as I set the rail up and I did my test and realized that, well, I spent over a day working on a fix. So now it's good. So you can see, first of all, that I moved Grumpy. He's not in the center anymore, and I duplicated him. Actually, I made 4 and I killed 2. So, yeah. But I moved one off to either side, and they're now on a half slab, so nothing else can spawn on them. And basically what I've done is I've put them just inside the 40 block radius here. They're at 39 blocks from the edge of the spawn platforms, because Pigmen have a 40 block search radius. And then, of course, this got elevated up to this level because these guys need to see me. So this glass had to go. So what I've got here is we opened it up with the trapdoors. Of course, you could use wood. I used iron again because I can afford it, and it looks good with my design. But yeah, I put these here to keep the little guys from getting out. And then I found with the half slabs panes, they were actually able to glitch through occasionally, and so were the chickens. So yeah, I switched her up to full blocks just for this platform. The ones above are still the same. And then this up top here, you can kind of see it's offset a little. So it's down that quarter or eighth of a slab or whatever a trapdoor sits, and that's just so it creates an overhang from this block, which I added in the lower half slab section of that. And the whole point is just to close this gap here so that the slimes and the chickens can't hop over, because without this and that in place, they're able to get out on the track sometimes. And then of course we have another problem, is once you open it up, the things, the evil slime magma cube things start tracking you, right? And then they won't go away or anything. They'll end up all over here. So I went out and I put some iron golems on each side, just on this level again, so that the magma cubes that do see me or would see me are busy aggroing on that guy. So that way, as soon as they spawn in, they just immediately jump off the platform going after him, and I don't have to worry about them coming over this way and lowering our spawn rates. So let's go over the rest, shall we? So the way this works is you come up and you're right here, and I put a chest here, like if you want to AFK overnight or something, you can put your valuables in. I put an extra bow in here so I can shoot these guys in the face if I want to, but it's not necessary. Just something fun to do if I'm actually at the computer. So you come up and you flip this switch and out pops a minecart and a couple of snowballs. And from here you would just hit Grumpy number 1 in the face with a snowball and hit Grumpy number 2 in the face with a snowball. And, well, here, I'll show you. And like so. And then just hop in your minecart and shove off. And you will see that they aggro and they chase after me. And don't worry, the minecart picks up speed. So there's just 1 rail on the redstone there and 3 in the center, and that's important to keep the timing. Any faster or slower and these guys lose aggro. So that's the way she's set up, and I can keep going like this like, well, I'm at 103 levels right now, put it that way, right? So, yeah. And I actually died once testing this to make sure I had it foolproof. So when you're done, you just flip the switch again when you go by. And come back. And the minecart will stop right here. You hop out of the cart and just give it a tap with your pick, and the hoppers pick it up, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's it. That's all. We'll go over the item sorter after I show you all this. So, oh, and I moved a little trapdoor back here just to get up and down to my redstone service area. So, also, just so you're aware, I moved the repeaters and stuff. I showed you I built it on this side. I moved it onto this side and moved the detector rail as well, so the whole setup got pushed over. The only reason I did that was to make room for this, because it was close enough that it would have powered this piston. So what we got here is, you can see our chest is right there for the setup, right? So I've got the dispenser here for the minecarts, and then a hopper on either side. Now our 3 powered rails are on top of that, and that's why the minecart will always stop over a hopper, because it stops on one of the edge block power rails when they shut off. And that way you can just tap it and it goes back into the system. The snowballs come up through these droppers that are on either side. They're hanging over the stairs there, and they get powered by this block when the system goes off, which you can see I've actually got 2 torches on that block. So one to power the droppers through this block here, and then naturally that torch, when the system goes off, powers this dropper to fire up the minecart. And then these are the blocks on the far side, same on either side of our powered rails. You can see that's where they stop. So these blocks are what powers the power rail, which is why I've got a torch tower on either side here. From there, it's very simple. I've got a redstone block running into a repeater, right? And this piston, which you can see our, what do you call it? Lamp, redstone lamp is on. Okay, and then this block, when this piston is powered off, is transferring the power from that redstone block into these repeaters, which is turning all these torches off. And that shuts off our detector or activator rails and sets up to prime our droppers for our droppers and dispenser. This one needs to be a dispenser, those ones droppers, for our stuff to come out when we flick the switch. So what happens is, when we flick the lever that's on top of that redstone lamp, this piston's gonna power, which pushes the block down, which cuts off all this power, and then that turns on all these, what do you call them? Redstone lamps. Nice and simple. I did have to cut a hole in the floor and drop my floor a little bit for this, but that is that. And then all this over here, this is just this is our portal. I've got it set up so it's on. Here, I'll show you guys real quick. I'm not going to go full on like tutorial on this, but basically the observer block detects the change every time this goes on or off. So both on the on and off. So it's a rising and falling edge monostable essentially. And it just runs through those into this repeater, into this block, which will 0 tick pulse this, right? Which 0 tick pulses this back, or 1 tick pulses this back and forth, pulls it back and forth at 1 ticks because of the repeater. That's why I've got the repeater there, because I want it to keep the observer on the piston, same as we did over here. So it goes, it sets off a 0 tick, and that just alternates pulling this back and forth. Now, to actually show you the rest, I'm gonna go like this. This is it. So from here, when this redstone block comes forward, you can see there's an observer there for a 0 tick pulse, and then this dispenser has a lava bucket, and then there's a lava bucket over here with flint and steel. And then there's this nice big array of pistons that push the wall back and forth, okay? Now I've got a torch here and a torch tower running up into these pistons. And what happens is when the block comes forward and sends the power, it shuts off that torch, which pulls these pistons back, which opens up our portal so that the flint and steel can fire to start up the portal, okay? And that's why we've got this torch on this side and this repeater, so it sends a pulse when this torch goes off, because when that torch goes on, it shuts that off, and vice versa. That's why there's a 4-tick delay here, to give it time to pull back the pistons before it fires off, because at the same time, when that power goes, it'll shut this torch off, which shuts our torch and redstone for the pistons off. Now, in the same sense, the observer there, remember, this will do the rising and falling edge, right? So when this gets pulled back, what happens is that's going to send a pulse into this block, which is going into our dispenser here, which will actually fire out the lava to break the portal. And that's why it's on a 0 tick and this is on a 1 tick up to our torch tower, is because that's a tick delay, and then the pistons delay about a tick before they close in, so that gives the lava time to break the portal so that the pistons can move the blocks in. If the portal's not broken first, what'll happen is the pistons won't push because they cannot push through those blocks. That's it. That's all for that. You can sub water for that if you want, for an overworld one, and I'll probably do a full-on tutorial for that eventually, just not today. We got enough to cover. So our lovely hopper layout here, all I did for our item filter was I extended that over here, and this just goes into a dropper tower. Now, if you saw our supercharged item elevator, you would be familiar with this quick 1-tick pulse generator that I set up, or clock, with the observer block. So we've got a block here, the observer's detecting this block, right? And then it sends out a pulse into this block, and there's redstone on each, and then the repeater facing into that block on 1 tick. And that's what makes it a 1-tick clock, otherwise it would be a 0 tick. So from our dropper, we've got our comparator going into this block with the torch. So when there's nothing in the droppers, the torch actually locks this clock by holding that block constantly powered with the redstone. As soon as items enter the droppers, the comparator shuts off this torch, which unlocks that redstone, depowers it. The observer detects the block update, which pulses this block and that redstone here, which powers the repeater, which powers the redstone. The whole thing keeps running as a clock. And this is the same on both sides. From there, I've got an observer, and these are quirky for droppers, but they work lightning quick because they're so fast. So sometimes they don't always work, and you got to play around with them. They're a little directional. They'll probably work out the bugs eventually, but for now, this is how they are. So it detects the change in the redstone, powers that block. This observer detects the change in the block, powers the droppers, and then I just repeat that pattern all the way up till the very top one, which goes into our item filter. From there, I've got 2 of these detecting the gold nuggets, and then 1 with just a single chest instead of doubles detecting the gold bars. And these run from either side. I decided to run a separate tower from either side rather than putting them in the middle, just because it's less bulky this way. A little more costly on the observers and stuff, but I saved a fortune not running hoppers all over the place. And then both of those, what they actually do is they go into, for the unfiltered, the gold swords and the like, they go into a dropper in the center. Both of them feed into hoppers on either side of the dropper. The dropper's facing down to drop items in. And then I've got the same 1-tick clock going on here, only I had to change the way I oriented it. So there's the torch, and then I've got it covered to prevent spawning, but you can see there's our repeaters and our block with the redstone on either side. Now, to fit this in, make sure it wasn't going to interfere with my filtration. I actually had to double up, so 2 observers behind these lava sea lanterns. That's all. So the unfiltered items are going to go into this dropper, and then that's going to set that clock off, which will power the dropper to drop my swords, and in my case, zombie flesh into here. I chose not to keep the zombie flesh because I've got enough of that already, guys, from my other farms. But if you wanted to, you could easily, say, take this tower, if you were doing the exact same design, and this tower, and just pull out the gold nuggets in the filter and put zombie flesh in, and then you could keep the zombie flesh. And I can change that at any time too. Right now all I want is the gold nuggets. I got a ton of zombie flesh. And then obviously this for the rare drop, no reason to keep the gold swords whatsoever, right? So that's it, guys. This is mostly design. In case you're wondering, so I walked him over from the center and I let another one spawn in after I glassed him off and pushed him over as well. And what I did was I put a half slab down for them to walk onto so they weren't on the top half, the bottom instead. And then just glassed them in, and the top one I pushed down on his head with a piston so that I could do this design. The rest is just purely aesthetic, right? That prevents any spawning because the top half slab he was on, I could have gotten spawns on. These guys, all I did was I left the area so I had no aggroed pigmen. Then I picked the center and I came out here on lower half slabs and put a slab there, and then broke the one in front of it and just put a golem down and wrapped the glass panes around him, and then I actually went below it off that platform there to finish decorating it. And I did that in all 4 spots, and that's just for our magmas. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you are going to copy this farm, definitely make sure everything's half slabs or stairs, bottom half slabs or stairs, so you don't get any spawns anywhere else, right? Because that's very important. And the portal, it's not necessary. You can just put a plain old portal. It's not absolutely necessary to have it shut off like that. I basically just did it that way because it's just, one, it's cool, and it's also an extra precaution. Nothing should come through that portal because, well, it's not connected to anything in the overworld. It's a one-way, and Pigman only spawn the portals in the overworld. In the Nether, that doesn't happen. So technically, I should never get one coming out of here, or zombies or anything else, but there is a way to link portals above the Nether, and I might get into that on another day. And I just wanted to keep that option available, right? So that's why it's designed to shut when the farm is running, so that way if I ever link it so I do have an overworld connection and Pigman could technically come into the Nether from the overworld, I wouldn't want that happening when I'm in my farm, right? That would suck. It would suck donkey doo-doo. So that's pretty much it, guys. I think I'm actually going to update the world downloads for this because it is big enough and it's tough to follow everything underneath here. So you can download it and, you know, come in and check it out if you would like. If you're trying to build it yourself, obviously I put these here so I don't fall off because I'm an idiot. Most of this is temp and it'll go, right? Once I'm completely done decorating, I have plans to finish off these walls and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I will update the world download so you can come check this and the other farms in my world out, and I will put the link to the world download in the description for y'all. And I will probably do a separate actual tutorial on this portal at some point. I'm not going to bother with the item filters, guys, doing a full-on tutorial for that. I will get into tutorials for droppers and stuff as well very soon. I've already been working on them in creative to set myself up to do them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, guys. It's a pretty OP farm. I'm happy with it. You should be too. And as always, smash that like if you did enjoy the episode. And if you're new and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more videos, would ya? Thanks for watching. Bye.